Welcome to the Grace Period podcast, where we gather for honest conversations about faith, everyday life, and the grace that carries us through it all. Think of this podcast like friends sitting down over a cup of coffee, sharing stories, laughing at ourselves, and leaning into God's grace together. Expect honesty, a lot of humor, and a space to ask hard questions. No sermons here, just conversation. Amen. Grace Period podcast, making room for grace in real life. Reminder that this podcast is sponsored by Christ Lutheran Church. In fact, the only reason why this podcast exists is because of Christ Lutheran Church in Visalia, California, cocvisalia.org. My name is Noel Thompson. We have Josh Nauman back, and our guest today is Paul Delgado. Paul, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Is this your first ever podcast you've ever been on?
I have a failed podcast experience with a friend back in college.
Is that online somewhere so we can see?
I don't even think it was published, to be honest. I think it was one of those moments where we thought it was going to be a good idea, and we listened to ourselves and went, nope, we should stop doing this altogether.
Yeah,
I don't even remember what the topic was.
Oh, well, there you go. And then Josh is back. This is what, your third time, Josh?
Something like that.
And this is our first time having three people on, so this should be fun and exciting, and we'll see if I have to cut anything. Fun fact, I've yet have to do any edits 7 episodes in. And I know I just jinxed myself, but it's going to happen at some point. So
yeah.
Oh, for sure.
It's a matter of when, not if. And then Josh walked in today, Paul, with a little treat. Well, we'll see. I don't know if I want to call it a treat because I haven't tried it yet. But for those of you that listened to last week's podcast, we were celebrating Dark Chocolate Day. And Josh asked me some questions about percentage. And so we're going to ask you, Paul, are you a dark chocolate guy?
I'm a huge fan of dark chocolate.
Huge fan.
Nice.
So where were you last week? Because I offered no context and
What's your percentage that you go for?
About 45%. I mean, like,
Oh,
the
that's
more,
kind of,
the better.
that's
Like,
kind of mild.
yeah.
Or like
It's just
45% milk.
Yeah.
So that would be like 65% dark.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I like that. Like,
And Noel
that
is
bitter.
silent right
yeah,
now.
I can leave. Yeah,
That bitterness.
I'll
that's
leave
so
the
good.
room.
Okay.
I'll leave the room, and you guys let me know when you're done talking about this conversation. So Josh walked in with 2 bars of chocolate. Josh, tell the people here, I almost said show the people. Tell the people the treats that you brought today.
So we got 2 bars of chocolate, both my lint, and one of them is 70% dark, and the other is 90% dark.
So
nice.
for the I don't think I've ever tried any of that before. So which one should I try first? I think the 90.
I think you want to start with the 90.
You know, the 90 and
You
ramp
gotta
it.
go
and-
the 90. All
Yeah.
right, give me a
Pull back,
piece.
yeah.
Give me the piece of the 90 here. So Josh brought some 90. That's a big bar of chocolate too. No golden ticket, which is fine. But here we go, 90.
I've already tried a piece, so while they're chewing on it, it's very bitter.
Yeah, I'm immediately thirsty.
Yeah, exactly.
Like-
This is something you'd probably use for like baking or
Like
something
my
like that.
Yeah,
mouth
definitely.
is dry. Yeah, there's not much. It's just bitter and dry.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there's not much sweetness at all.
None.
Very little sugar. in
Very
this.
little.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't like it. I'm not a fan.
But as you said, you probably use it for baking and other things like
Really?
that. Not really for eating out.
Yeah, I don't know. What would you put that in baking wise?
It'd be good for a chocolate tort
Mhm.
or some, you shave it and put a little bit on top of a pie or something like that. Something that's really, really sweet that you want some chocolate flavor to it, but you want to bring it down.
Huh.
So now they're trying the 70%.
Yeah, this is more my speed.
I figured, yeah.
No, I feel like this is more eatable. Is that a word?
Eatable?
Eatable.
I don't think that's a word.
Again, we don't claim to be professionals here, Paul. It's more manageable on the palate.
All right.
So that was 70.
That's 70, yeah. So your typical Ghirardelli dark chocolate squares that have like caramel or
Love
something.
Ghirardelli. Yeah.
So those ones are like 58%.
All right. Well, we're going to the Bay. The youth. We're going to the Bay Area. Actually, we'll probably be near Ghirardelli Square in a week or so. So maybe I'll try some of that. I think that's more my speed. I love Ghirardelli.
Especially after eating a 90%, like 70 tastes like a Hershey bar.
Yeah.
Oh,
like-
yeah, totally.
Do you have a favorite brand, Paul?
Not really. I remember back in the day when the store World Market was open, they used to have like a section just for chocolate.
I
and
used to
various
work
things.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I used to get mine. Yeah.
I literally talked about that last week. How people were passionate about that chocolate section at Road Market. And
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks for the treat. My mouth is questioning things, but I had to take some water there.
Need a
But
little palate cleanser. now.
yeah, so for the record, I'm a 70% guy. Do they have 80%? Like, what were the options when you went to the store?
Oh yeah, Lindt makes. I think there's an 80. There's actually a 99,
Oh,
which
why?
is just not good.
Yeah, it's not good.
Wow, that's just more for.
And
like,
then Ghirardelli makes a bunch of them too. There's like 6 or 7 different ranges. And there's my problem with Ghirardelli ones. They're delicious, but they're not round numbers.
mm,
So it's like 58 or 63 or
Gotta
it's
be
like,
different. Yeah.
Come on.
well, there you go, people. Enjoy your chocolate. Speaking of chocolate, today is February 5th. We're gonna go to our national bit here, our national days, because people are passionate about some of these things. And today we are recording on February 5th. It is National Chocolate Fondue Day. There used to be a restaurant in Minnesota. I think it's called the Melting Pot, which was like fondue. I don't know.
I've heard of that. Is it
All-
a national chain?
I might be.
I think it is. We
might-
had one back in Southern California.
Yeah, all my friends were all about it. And I remember I went once, and I don't know. Fondue wasn't my thing. Paul, is fondue your thing?
It's all right. It's not a huge hit for me. But it's all right.
Yeah. How about you, Josh? Are you a big fondue guy?
Not a chocolate fondue guy.
Yeah.
I like the oil. Like
Yeah.
I like that kind of
Like
or the
the
cheese.
cheese, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I haven't done a chocolate fondue.
Yeah.
That's what you see at like a wedding where you like have to put a
Like a
strawberry
chocolate
or
fountain,
marshmallow
yeah.
or something in there.
Huh. Well, for those who like fondue, today's your day. It's also Hank Aaron's birthday. which-
Happy birthday.
The true home run king. That's very
Mm.
hot topic. I'm going to make some
Okay.
people upset that. Josh, tomorrow's February 6th. Give us some days on that.
It's National Chopstick Day.
Ooh.
I keep chopsticks in my desk at work. They're good for every style of food.
Wait, really?
Yeah. I've
Uh,
eaten salad with chopsticks, pasta with chopsticks, everything. I mean, except unless it's like liquid, but
Mm.
Yeah.
How
and
your-
for some reason I always have extra, so they end
Yeah.
up in my work desk.
Are you, how is your chopstick game, Paul?
I mean, I can use chopsticks, but I'm starting to develop a little bit of arthritis in
Ooh,
this
there you
hand.
go.
So after a while, it gets a little hard. But
Yeah. Yeah.
We also have bubblegum day.
Ooh. So people, my wife is one of these people, are pretty passionate on what kind of bubble gum you get them, or just gum in general. And if I buy her the wrong gum, I'm going to hear it about it for a week. But did you guys have a favorite bubble gum when you were growing up?
I don't know if it was a favorite, but definitely when I was a kid, the bubble tape used to be like a
Oh.
thing.
The
Yeah.
novelty of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like I don't chew a lot of gum today, but
Right.
I don't know. I can still in my memory taste that gum.
I was never really allowed to have bubblegum.
Really, I'm a big fan of Big League Chew, solid,
Mm.
and then the Bubblicious.
Yeah, Bubblicious was good.
Bubblicious is good. Bubblicious literally is only for bubbles because that stuff loses its flavor within 90 seconds.
Yeah, almost
But-
as fast as like the gumball machine gumballs.
Yeah, for sure.
Those are garbage.
Yep. And then this one, National Frozen Yogurt Day is tomorrow.
I miss frozen yogurt.
We used to, I don't know, Paul, in Visalia, I felt like at one point we had like 8 frozen yogurt places, and I feel like they all kind of just went away.
The fad just
Yeah,
died
I think
down.
they had their time and
Yeah.
sort of fizzling out.
Because I remember when I first moved here, everyone had like their own favorite one.
It was all the do-it-yourself ones, right?
Yeah.
like you go
Yeah.
up to the
Self-serve
thing,
counters,
and
yeah.
it does by weight, and I end up leaving there with like a $40 bucket
Oh,
of
And
frozen
then,
yogurt.
Just 'cause you're paying for all the toppings.
Yeah.
and then the one that I'm thinking of is if you got your weight correctly, I think you got a discount.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was the one by Buffalo Wild Wings. They had
Oh.
they had a thing where if you guessed the weight of it, I don't think it was free, but it was definitely. And of course, no one ever got it. I don't
No.
think, but I don't think we even have any frozen yogurt places around here.
Isn't there one? I think there's one still in the mall.
Probably.
anybody
I
still
feel
goes
like
to the
every mall needs a frozen yogurt place, but
That's true.
I missed a good like TCBY.
yeah,
I never figured out what that stood for, but it was
Yeah.
just where you went to get frozen yogurt
exactly.
and rock hard gummy bears.
And I would not be able to sleep tonight if I didn't mention one of my favorite Seinfeld episodes is the non-fat yogurt episode.
That is a good episode.
pretty good. Pretty good. February 7th. Paul, what's February 7th?
So we got ice cream for breakfast day.
Yeah, so that falls on the first Saturday of February. So on the first Saturday of February, people,
Good
you
to
have
know.
you have my permission to have ice cream for breakfast, which my daughter Luca would. I'm not even going to tell her because she would do it. But
I mean, that's just milk and sugar, right? That's the same as most cereal.
I know cereals these days. So, quick take. Favorite ice cream flavor there, Josh?
Pistachio.
Ooh.
Specifically like a good spumoni.
Okay. How about you, Paul?
Actually, pistachio as well. Sometimes Rocky Road, I'll go for
Yeah.
that too. But pistachio.
Yeah, I like cake batter. I don't know. Just my thing. And then the Italian people in your life will have opinions on this one. On February 7th, it is National Fettuccine Alfredo Day.
I mean, if you start your day with ice cream for breakfast and end it with fettuccine alfredo, I mean, you're not moving the next day.
No.
I'm not going to lie. I'm a big fan of fettuccine Alfredo. Yeah, so you can't help what the palate likes, right?
That's
90%
right.
chocolate. Big fan of fettuccine Alfredo. And then February 8th, which the Minnesotan me is not a big fan of. Josh, what's February 8th?
National Flyover State Day.
Yeah, it's Iowa Day. I don't know why Iowa gets its own day. Which I forgot to do it, but I was gonna research.
When's National Minnesota
Yeah,
Day?
I mean, gosh,
You should register.
I
that
wonder
one
if
right
that is the day that Iowa became a state. I didn't really research it too much.
It
but
might be.
National Iowa Day, which is ironic because it's also National Pork Rind Day, which Iowa does lead the nation in pork production. I do know that. And pork rinds, pretty good. People are a fan of them. Josh, aren't you a fan of pork rinds?
I love pork rinds. Yeah.
How about you, Paul? Where do you stand on the pork rind?
I'm definitely a fan of pork rinds.
Yeah.
That is not the day that Iowa became a state.
No,
Iowa became a state on December 28th,
Yeah.
1846.
Whatever. We're already talking way too much about Iowa for my liking here. So
So black and yellow over there.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, no. And then Josh, February is a lot of each month has so many things. And so we all know that February is Black History Month, and awesome. There's amazing opportunities in our community to celebrate that, and that's something that we honor here too, and at Christ Lutheran Church. But it's also other things, right? I mean, each month has like 5 or 6 things. So I was wondering, what else is February? Josh, do you want to name a couple of those?
It is American Heart Month.
Yep.
National Cancer Prevention Month.
Yep.
And National Bird Feeding Month.
So as I was like looking this up, I was like, yep, these are like pretty, like not serious things, but pretty important things, right? Like, your heart stuff and, cancer prevention, absolutely stuff I get behind in and want to support. Black History Month for sure. But then it's like bird feeding month. And I was just like,
I mean, you could tie that to mental health, right?
Yeah, sure. Which have you guys seen those ads now where it's like ring cameras, but like for bird feeders?
Yes.
It'll even identify the species for you.
Yeah. That's insane. It's one of those things where I don't even care what the price is.
Just give it to me.
Add it to cart.
See, I think technology like that is bringing a lot of the birders out of the closet where they belong.
For sure. Favorite bird? Did I already talk to you about our favorite bird? I'm a big bird guy. I do have an app though where it records the voice of the bird. It tells you what bird it is, and that is coming clutch.
That's interesting.
Like one morning, I legit had like 9 different birds in my backyard because I was hearing so many calls, like so many. I was like, "What is going on?" And this app was able to tell me exactly which bird. And it's not. I'll tell you what, it's true because as it showed me a picture of each bird, and I was seeing the birds. I was like, "Yeah, that's absolutely correct." So I think it's called like Merlin. I don't know. Merlin, if you're out there, you can sponsor us. Yeah, no free ads here. But and then Paul, I'm gonna let you handle this because I don't even know if I can even say the word. What's the February birthstone?
I'm not sure I can say that word either.
Amethyst.
Thank you, Josh.
I don't even know what kind of. I think it's purple. I think it's a purple color.
Well, given that the flowers are also purple, that kind of would make sense.
Yeah. So violet, purple.
Yeah. So February birth flowers are violet and primrose.
I'm sorry. Delicate
violet.
That's right. Cheerful primrose.
Yeah.
Not the sorrowful primrose.
Or
hard.
I have
violet.
no idea. I have no idea what a primrose even looks in person.
We're not flower people.
Yeah, we're not flower people.
We are not.
Everyone in my family has a green thumb. I got the black hand of death when it comes to plants. My plants die.
Violet and primrose. But I mean, hey, none of us have birthdays in February, so I guess we can't. It's okay for us not to know any of these
Am I
things.
supposed to know all these things for my birthday month?
You know what? As I said that in my mind, I was like, I'm born in March. I don't.
Yeah, because you get to October, I'm not going to know anything.
I barely
either.
know my birthstone.
I think my March birthstone's blue.
What is it though?
I think it's aquamarine.
Isn't that's a color, not a thing, isn't it?
I think that is a birthstone.
Okay.
That is the actual stone.
I think it's get on your phone and Google it. I don't know. Wait, so you're September, Paul. You don't know your birthstone?
No, I'm October, but I don't know my birthday.
September is Sapphire.
I feel like that is such our grandparents' generation. They were all about the birthstone stuff.
It's true. It's true.
Like our parents and grandparents.
It is an aquamarine.
I knew it.
Wow.
Oh, mark this moment down in this history of history.
Oh, it has 2 birthstones.
Oh, of course.
The modern birthstone is aquamarine. The traditional is a bloodstone.
Ooh, man.
Which is not red. It's dark green.
Well,
interesting.
We'll talk about that next month in March.
Birthstone talk.
Yeah, birthstone
That
talk.
was birthstone
But
talk.
seriously, there are people out there that are pretty serious about birthstones. I think every grandma out there has a ring with birthstones of their grandchildren.
Yeah, generation before us for sure. Yeah.
It's a huge thing. And they're probably all mad at us right now because we have no idea what our birthstones are.
That
But
represents 90% of the listeners' audience.
gosh,
right now.
yeah, I know. So sorry, people. I do know we have some older listeners who come up to me on Sunday and talk about this podcast. And yep, we don't know our birthstones. I'm sorry, but we'll learn. We'll learn. We have 2 random stats of the day before we dive into our conversation with Paul. Josh, take that first one away from me.
The loudest crowd sing-along ever recorded hit over 130 decibels, which is louder than a jet engine. It was during, probably not surprisingly, during a Queen concert.
Oh, amen.
To We Will Rock You. Great song.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And the audience was measured as being louder than the entire amplified band.
That is incredible.
That's awesome. Wow. I love that Queen holds the record because, like, what better band?
Yeah.
What better song?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. That's pretty loud.
I read once a while back that they decided to add that song to their list because they needed a song that the crowd could sing to, because the rest of the songs nobody else could keep up with Freddie Mercury.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And so they needed a song that the crowd could be involved in and sing right along and not feel like they couldn't hit the notes.
That's genius.
Yeah.
What is the loudest place you guys ever been to? Yeah, that's a good question.
Wow, music wise or just in
in general? I don't know. I remember as a kid, my dad took me to like a monster truck rally. I remember it was so loud I cried and we had to leave.
Wow.
I really want to take Logan to one, but I'm worried I'm gonna pay like $50 for the edge of my seat because why would you need the rest?
Yeah.
And then we're gonna have to leave after 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did not bring headphones. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I remember it being so loud that I cried. It's a vivid memory, and we left. But as far as concert, I don't know. As we get older, I feel like concerts are a lot louder now than they were back then. But maybe our ears are a little more sensitive. But and then this next stat, which for those of you who have been, listening to this podcast, you know that I've kind of been a critic on some of these random stats. But this one, I think I agree. But the average person listens to about 1,300 hours of music per year, which is the equivalent of more than 54 straight days of nonstop music. So the average person listens to 1,300 hours of music per year. I would probably think I'm above that average.
I wonder if that's intentionally listening to music or it's just on somewhere and they don't have control over it.
Yeah. I don't know, though. People drive a lot. I work out to music. I clean to music.
Yeah, music is used all different parts of our life. So,
although it's funny because I feel like we need music because I feel like we don't want silence. But I think sometimes for our mental health, it's probably good to have some silence. But I would say that's true. Are you over or under the 1,300 hours, Josh? Where would you place yourself?
I'm probably over that.
Yeah.
Considering my average commute and
right.
the time I sit alone on my desk.
Yeah. How about you, Paul?
Oh, I'm way over that. Way over.
Okay, but let's dissect
like
that.
300 hours a day for Paul.
Okay, so outside of you having to listen to music for your work, are you still over that or under that?
Oh, definitely over that.
You think you're still over that? Yeah. Because a lot of it, the music you listen to, it's because you have to, not because maybe necessarily you want to.
That's true. And then, I don't know, it kind of bleeds in between because the music I have to listen to is also music I want to listen to. But then I'm also looking for new music all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a challenge. I know that this is probably a good segue to our conversation. But my wife being a dance teacher, that's a challenge she always faces is finding music for her dance show.
Hmm.
You know, and especially in U2 is appropriate music, you know, because it's
Right.
first
Age
grade,
appropriate,
yeah,
right.
first grade
Yeah.
through 8th grade. So that's like the hardest part of her job, honestly, is finding
Keeping it fresh and keeping it age
music.
appropriate.
Yeah, yeah. And so, but
Yeah.
that's a challenge. But yeah, so we are starting this new. It's not even a new series, but it's our first one in our series. So I guess you can call it new series, but we're calling it the Vocation series here at Grace Period Podcast because we here at Christ Lutheran Church, and I'll say this, we don't plug this church enough probably into this podcast, but we're starting to now more. But one of the things I love about this church is we have so many people in a variety of careers, and they use their careers as a ministry. And I've been blessed by that. I know so many people here that have been, you know, what they do for a living is working in the mechanic field, and they bless me by helping fixing my car. And we have people everywhere, business owners and all sorts of things. And I love that here at Christ Lutheran Church, we have people who view their job as a calling, as a place for them to not only represent God, but to spread God's love and God's grace. And that's honestly one of my favorite things about this church. And so Paul's going to kick off the series, but we are going to have members upon members come in here and talk about their job, to the Visalia city manager, which is a pretty big deal, to teachers, to law enforcement, all sorts of things, who I know they have taken advantage of the gifts God has given them. And they not only do they do a great job in their career, but they also, I think, do a great job of being a follower of Jesus. And so vocation is not really a word that's said a lot these days. It's more of not a churchy word, but it's more a word that's used kind of in a church setting. And so vocation means your calling, the work, role, or purpose you feel drawn to in life. So it's not just a job, right? It's not just a 9 to 5, clock in, clock out. You're doing it for the money. This is an intersection of where you use your gifts and your passions, and you use it, yes, to help the needs of the world. And so it, in a Christian context, vocation also refers to the unique ways of God works through your everyday life, your relationships, your work, your talents. And so again, it's your calling. And so Paul, I think you're kind of the best person to start this podcast off, because, you know, I think everyone has a passion for music, but also just, you know, but taking that passion for music, but put it in the context of calling and ministry. You definitely, I feel like, have been doing that for the majority of your life. We'll find out a little bit more about that, and so we're really, really excited, Paul, for you to come on. Thank you for that. So I guess my first question to you, Paul, is, has music always been a part of your life? I mean, has it been something that was huge in your household where music was just always present? Like, what's your earliest memory when it comes to music for you?
Yeah, my earliest memory for music is just listening to my dad's music back in the day, you know, growing up, oldies. So the doo-wop, golden oldie stuff. I mean, just listening to harmony all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then slowly, so I went to Catholic elementary school.
Okay.
And so, you know, we had to sing in church there and stuff like that. And so church music has always been a part of my life, even as young as 5.
Wow.
Cantering for services and stuff like that in the boy choir and all that stuff, learning all that Latin and some other things. And but growing up, my biggest musical influence were listening to my dad's music, my mom's music, just I was just around harmony all the time.
Did your dad have, like, I guess this is probably a good starter question for all of us, because my dad had his own preference of music, but it was different than my mom. So I was kind of exposed to all different kinds of music. And now as a parent, I don't know if I would be playing that stuff, knowing, but at the same time, that shaped me to who I am. So I guess, who was your dad's favorite artist or your mom's favorite artist? And same with you, Josh. Like, what kind of music did you guys grow up listening to? Because in one day, I would listen to Prince and Tupac to like REO Speedwagon. Like, that's quite a big
that's a big
shift.
Yeah,
but I'm also like very proud of it now. So real quick, what were your dad's favorite artists or moms? And then Josh, you too.
Well, like I said, my dad is all about doo-wop, oldies and stuff like that. So any group you name from the 50s and 60s, like, he's there. Like, and my mom and him are the same age. So, I mean, and my mom and him were part of the same car club and everything, hanging out with the same people.
Car
Wow.
club.
Yeah, my dad was in a car club.
I love it.
He's back in the car club now that he's retired.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
And doing that. But yeah, so they had the same artists and same. But my mom also too was like into like late 70s, 80s music too. So, and my dad has slowly come around to some of that stuff now. But his good tried and true stuff is always like, every time I come home, he's listening to the same thing.
Yeah. How about you, Josh? What kind of music were you kind of not? I don't know if exposed is the right word.
No,
but-
I mean, I think that's the right word, because I distinctly have, and I still have these sense memories too of playlists that we had like a 5-disc CD changer that had the same 5 CDs
Oh,
on
yeah.
it
Uh-huh.
that always rotated. And when certain songs came on, I still have like the visceral reaction, like, oh, it's time to wash the windows, or I gotta dust the furniture now when I hear this song. But it was all, there was a Bonnie Raitt CD on there. There was a Garth Brooks CD. There was Steely Dan, Eric Clapton, and Elton John. Those were the big 5 that were on constant rotation, and it was similar genres to that. And that was, I just grew up with my mom. The one music entry my dad made into my childhood was very strange. Now that I look back on it, he randomly gave me a box set of the Police, a Police box set, a 4 CD box set. Had no idea who they were. I think I was probably 10 or 11 at the time when he gave it to me. I mean, it was great music.
Right.
And I learned most of their, I mean, it was a box set, so it had all of their hits on it. It was like 100 tracks on there. But beyond that, I really have no idea what he listened to on a regular basis. I honestly believe he was like a KNX 1070 news radio guy most of the time.
It's funny you mentioned how you go back and your dad still listens to it. I think I mentioned that in the sermon, like full circle, where I would always complain to my parents of listening to stuff they grew up to, but now I have my kids. Like, do we have to listen to Jimmy Eat World? Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
I distinctly remember, like, we were listening to some Eric Clapton at home growing up, and I think I was in middle school, and when the album finished, because I was not allowed to take a CD off of there unless it played beginning to end. That's how it worked. I put in a Metallica CD, and I thought my mom was gonna love it because because she listened to like Eric Clapton. He has great guitar riffs.
Yeah.
He's an amazing guitar player.
Right.
I was like, listen to this guy. These guitars amazing. How awesome! And she looked at me. She's like, get that off of there.
Yeah. So Paul, when it sounds like you were just exposed to music at an early age. Were you always in love with it? Like, tell me a moment where you felt like, I really not only listening to music, but love singing, love being involved in music. Was there a moment at all for you? And it's okay if there isn't, because not all of us have the luxury of like these bright bulb moments, but was there a moment for you where you just were like, yeah, like I love music?
Oh yeah. There was a light bulb moment for me. So as a young kid, just, playing with my toys in the living room and stuff, and my dad flipping channels. And I remember there was a PBS special of a Christmas concert. It was December at the time. And my dad stopped randomly to talk to my sister or somebody. Anyway, and I was just like locked on this choir. And so I asked my dad, like, what is that? What are they doing? He's like, that's a choir. And I was like, well, who's the guy directing? He's like, well, that's the choir director. So, so 2 weeks go by, and suddenly I'm in the church choir now.
Yeah.
And it just sort of took off from there. But I just remember just stopping playing with my toys, and I was just like fixated on the TV choir. So
what was it about the choir? Was it the harmony? Was it the simpleness of it, of maybe just a piano, or because usually choirs either not a cappella, but not much of an instrumental group. But what part of the choral world or choir really like made you draw to that part of music?
Yeah, I think when you get voices together singing in harmony, and I remember it was an a cappella piece. I do not remember the piece to this day, but I just remember just kind of being enveloped in sound and stuff. And it just blew my mind that multiple voices can do different things at the same time.
Yeah.
And create this incredible sound. But when we speak and you've got a bunch of people doing it, it's just this cacophony of noise. But you put music to it, and suddenly it's beautiful. And so yeah, I'm just perplexed by that, and that's what fixated me on it, I think.
So choir has kind of always been like from the beginning. That's something I didn't know about you, was because I know you come from a heavy choral background, and choir is your main thing. But I didn't realize that from an early age, it's kind of always been choir.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And in that way, I'm kind of like the black sheep of the family, because like not many members of my family are artistic in that particular way, especially with music or stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know quite where the focus and the talent and skill come from and the passion, but that's all God connected, I guess, because it's just God had a plan, and I guess I'm trying to live that plan.
Imagine if the first thing you heard wasn't a choir, it was like somebody beatboxing. I wonder where we'd be now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't like choir until I was kind of forced to do it in high school. Then I loved it. And so for me, my background's a little bit more of like that Prince Minneapolis sound and funk and more variety. When I got introduced to music, it was just drinking out of a fire hydrant, right? So it's more of just like,
was it like classical choir or more like show choir kind of thing?
In high school, it was show choir.
Okay.
They needed some guys that can not be afraid to sing and dance.
Yeah.
And not get embarrassed, because I think in high school that's hard to find, you know.
For sure.
And so I at first I was more of a token, just to be on stage. I was just more ensemble. I can keep the tone right and melody, and then I just loved it. Like I just absolutely loved it. It's one of my favorite memories in high school. So yeah, so I just was a huge thing. But I know for choir though, like, not to get no, this is a podcast, but like, not really. I'm not asking if you were bullied, but like, was that something that was tough for you to like enjoy? Because I mean, I'll be honest, like choir wasn't really a popular thing in my high school, but for it being a huge passion for you, like, did you have any difficulty growing up with this huge passion of choral music in junior high, senior high? Like, was that something where, you know, people can be mean, right? People can just be people. And I guess my question is, at what point was that hard for you to kind of follow, not from like, you know, from baby to now, but you know, I think junior high and senior high can be cruel, right? I mean, I work in youth ministry, so
those can be tough years.
Were that challenging for you to like, you know, and have a passion for something that maybe quote unquote is not popular, even though I think it should be?
Trying to think. Surprisingly, no. I think I've been blessed in that particular way, where just I think people just know it's part of my DNA and that's who I am, and I think also too, I maybe gravitated towards my own circle, so didn't really hang out with the other circles that very much. But so maybe if things were said, it was in hushed tones behind my back. But I never directly had any, you know, opposition or you know, challenge in that particular way. So I guess I'm fortunate in that way.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, so when did you know that you wanted to be more than a hobby? Because you loved choir, you wanted to be involved in it, you wanted to participate in it, right, as much as you want.
Sure.
At what point did you have this moment where you're like, maybe I want to do this for a living? Like, was that early on in high school? And I guess too, on a second question, a follow up of that is, who were the people that kind of helped you show you the way? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes we might know our calling, but it's kind of like bumper bowling. There's people in our lives that kind of help us figure it out without us crashing on the edges, right?
Definitely. And this kind of goes hand in hand. So yeah, in high school, I think my junior year, there was a time when the choir was going to have to sing the national anthem, I think for one of the football games, opening football game or something for the season. And the high school director was not going to be able to be there. So he just randomly asked me, Paul, would you direct this? I'll teach you how to direct a little bit. And I said, okay. So, and then after that was all she wrote. I had a taste for conducting and I couldn't get enough of it. But interestingly enough, coming out of high school, I was terrified about being a musician, because in my head I thought, okay, I can do this. This is great. This is awesome. I want to do more. I'll finish school and I'll come back and teach at my high school,
right.
You know, and I think that's the kind of the dream for a lot of us in high school as choral musicians. We have, you know, choral music. You really fall in love in high school with choral music, with just the experiences and the people and everything. And so, yeah. So my high school director, Eric Nelson, like I said, really guided me after college, or when I started college. Like I said, I was terrified the first week of school, and I was like, I don't know if I could be a music major, because how am I going to survive as a musician? Do I have the talent? Do I have the skill to do this? can I really go all the way
Oh, like financially survive.
financially?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think for
It's like
like
a bloodthirsty.
which I also think is a healthy,
It's good to be
question.
thinking about that at that stage in your career.
Yeah,
or
and I think it's
education.
also a parent question too. At the time, like my kid wants to be a musician. Like,
Well, it's a stereotype.
it
too,
is, but
Which
What do you
sometimes-
plan on doing with this career,
Yeah.
young man?
it can
Yeah,
be terrifying.
absolutely.
And I think I was a business major for like 2 days.
Just in case.
Yeah, because sure enough, I think the first day of college, I walked past the music building. They were having auditions for the choir, and I kept hearing people sing, and I was like, I can't. I have to.
Yeah.
So I signed up, and then like the week after, I was officially a music major, and the rest from there. But yeah. So when I started college, my high school director asked if I would sing in his church choir
Okay.
as a paid section leader, and I said sure. And at the time, I thought, well, it's just a little extra money, sure, no problem. And I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
I fell in love with it. It was a good group of people, and I liked working with my high school director outside of high school and stuff. And then about a year and a half later, he was having some trouble with his eyes, so he retired from high school, and then retired from that church.
Yeah.
And I remember them interviewing choir directors, and I thought, I'm still in school. They're not gonna, but I'll throw my name in the hat and see what happens. But I had a good rapport with the choir already, having
Right.
sung with them, and the staff liked me, the pastor liked me, and everything. And so they took a chance on an 18-year-old to be their music director at First Christian Church in Whittier. And I was there for about 10 years.
So
Wow.
you were a church choir director at age 18,
At 18.
and you already had a little bit of experience with this church choir before, but
Yeah.
not really with the church.
Right.
Okay. And you were there for 10 years?
I was there for 10 years.
That's amazing. That's the most amazing thing to me about that story is that you identified your passion so early,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and were able to make it a career so early.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Like at that age, I was not thinking about like my financial stability in the future when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do in college.
Mhm.
Right.
And like there's no, I was definitely not in that mindset at all. That's absolutely amazing.
No, I consider that a blessing, because I know there
Yeah.
are some people, can live their whole lives searching for what it
Yeah.
is they're supposed to do in this world. And I'm blessed to have come into it so early.
I'm still trying to figure it out.
But
I'm older than both of you.
but there is something about that though, Paul, I want to ask, because not only so you're leading a choir at age 18. That in itself is amazing. But you're doing it in a church setting.
Yeah.
And it's a ministry.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so how did you manage that as an 18-year-old? And no offense to 18-year-old Paul, but like I have no idea what your faith life was back then.
No,
How do
right.
you
Yeah.
get a church choir of probably much older people than
Yeah,
you
that's
to
right.
listen to 18-year-old Paul?
So how did that affect first of all, what was your faith back then? And then how did you manage that extra ministry part, right? Because I mean, there's already challenges directing choral and choir,
Absolutely.
but then you're also ministering to the people. So
You are,
I
yeah.
guess that's my question is, what was your faith like back then, and how did you manage the ministry part of that part?
Yeah, so it's like I said, having grown up Catholic, I think by the end of high school, I was getting ready to make confirmation. And while I have no problem with the Catholic Church, it's just something did not feel connected
Yeah.
deeply. And so I think also a saving grace for me was that my parents said, we will raise you Catholic because that's who we are till you're 18. And then when you're 18, you can go off on your own and decide what you want to decide.
That's pretty that's amazing.
That is
That's
amazing.
very progressive.
That is amazing. And I'm so grateful to my parents for that, because
Yeah.
that's not easy for a lot of folks. And so right out of high school, I think I had what I kind of classify as maybe a crisis of faith. I wasn't really sure where I was at. Like, there's a difference between growing up in a faith and a religion and deciding, do I believe this? Like, this is just something I've grown up to do. So I took some time. I did some soul searching during that first year of college. And like I said, singing in the choir at the time, that first year in college, and singing in the church choir for a little bit. At the time, it was not a faith thing for me. It was just, I'm making some extra money. When slowly but surely, I really started to develop my own faith. And that's where I really learned the difference between religion and faith.
Yeah.
And that took flight for the first time in my life, I think, is my faith. And and so how did 18-year-old Paul deal with this music ministry? I think I was fortunate to work with a group of folk who as Josh said, were older than me,
Mm.
you know. So in many ways, they ministered to me. I didn't minister to them.
Yeah.
And luckily, I had a pastor there at the time who just kind of took me by hand and really helped me through some of those steps. And also the pastor, I was fortunate enough too, because the pastor was singing in the choir too.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah,
So your boss is also
your
in
boss
front of
is
you.
there. Yeah.
This is like a personal nightmare for me.
Well, like I said, it's interesting. And I had to learn some things too, because then about a year and a half later, the previous director, who was my high school director, started getting back into his roots as a church organist, and he was playing for the Methodist church down the street from us at the time. And then my organist left and stepped down, and I needed a new organist. And so
That's not something you find easily.
no. And so we interviewed a bunch of people, and then finally walks in my old previous high school director, the previous director of this church, and he's applying to be the organist. So we literally went from teacher, student to
Director and
boss, employee, and now I was the boss, supervisor, and now
Yeah.
he was the employee. It was just a crazy turn of events for
Wow.
for young Paul. So I think the ministry side of it for me definitely developed over
Yeah.
those 10 years, because I was much more settled in my faith and who I was. And suddenly I didn't really want to go into I also learned early on that classroom teaching is not really my particular strength. It's
Okay.
not where it's not where I feel grounded and secure. But ministry and music just seemed natural to me. And ever since then, I just realized that God had been shaping me to be a music director for
Yeah.
a church.
Was it, because that was kind of my next question, was it that job that kind of gave you more clarity? Because gosh, a music teacher is such a wide range from elementary
Oh yeah.
to junior high. Trust me, my 7th grade son's band sounds a lot different than the band at the high school level
Yeah.
to a band. I mean, music teaching is so, it's a zoo, right? From kindergarten to senior to college. So was it that job that kind of clarified, like, oh, it's music and ministry. That's my calling.
Yeah, definitely. That's what locked it down for me.
Mhm.
The more and more I got into it, I just realized God was revealing so much more.
Yeah. You were there for 10 years, and then what happened after that? Remind us of that.
Yeah. So about the end of my 10th year, just the church, which was
what year were we talking at this point?
Gosh,
You were 28, right? If you were at 18.
Yeah.
So 12 years ago?
Yeah, about 12 years ago.
It's fast math right there.
I'm on fire today. Probably that chocolate.
Yeah. So, sorry, can you ask me the question again?
What were you? So you were there for 10 years.
Yep.
What was the next stage of your career life there after that?
Yeah. So as wonderful as the church was, and I'm so grateful for that start there, it was just clear that the church was just kind of winding down in its progression, and in a building meant for 2,000 people to be in, and
Wow.
only 60 people showing up for church every Sunday. It was just clear that the church was at the end of its life.
Right.
And so I started looking for other places of work and stuff, and I ended up at a church in Temecula, and that was my first introduction, which it's not entirely listed as a mega church, but I would call it like a mega-ish church style church. And so that was my first interaction with such a large scale church. And and I was only one of the music directors, because there was like 3 different music teams.
Wow.
Super high-end contemporary band. There was kind of like a 930 band, like what we do here, kind of in between stuff. And then I was the traditional music director, which I had the choir and more traditional hymns and stuff like that. And yeah, it was just
That's a much different setting.
it was a very different setting. 2,000 people plus on a Sunday, staff of over 100 people.
Your team, it's like your coworkers. I mean, the difference probably was just unbelievable.
Yeah, it was great. And like, we grew the choir. When I first arrived, I think it was around 60 people. By the time I left there, I think we had close to 120. I think we close to double that size of that choir.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make some stuff public here. I was on the hiring team for Paul, and so I was on the committee to find the new music minister. And one thing that stood out from Paul's resume was it was something called the Paul Delgado Singers. And I remember the committee was like, huh, so he has a group named after himself. And
I feel like this is something we can look up too on the internet.
It definitely is. And we did actually.
How pretentious is this guy?
Well, I mean, it was just kind of, it stood out. But we did look it up, and we were actually rather impressed by that. And so we chuckled, right? Like,
Sure.
oh, okay. But I'm curious. Talk to us about the Paul Delgado Singers.
Yeah. First, the disclaimer is I did not name the group. Originally, it was not formed to be a long-standing choir. In my second or third year of college, we decided just to get like a group of 8 or 10 of us and just make some extra money caroling during December.
Yeah.
But I guess we did fine because after December we kept getting more gigs, and finally, after performing a few extra times into the new year, I remember the original 8. We went out to lunch and they said, "Paul, you should make it a real choir." And I was like, I don't know, guys. I don't know. And they said, "Oh, yeah, but we want to call ourselves the Paul Delgado Singers." And I was like, "Oh, I really don't want that."
PDS right there.
Like, I haven't even started my career. I'm going to destroy it before it even starts. Plus, I knew some pitfalls on the horizon because we were all getting ready to transfer to our respective universities and stuff, right. And I didn't know how to, effectively keep this group going. But I said, "Okay, if you want to do it, we'll do it." And I remember. Yeah, we auditioned, we got some more people. My college director was in support of it, so he was kind of helping us out, letting us practice in the practice rooms and stuff like that. And it just kept growing. And so it became kind of this it sort of became my flagship choir. And we performed, we ended up calling ourselves like a semi-professional choir.
Yeah.
It just kind of fit this niche of like people who had just graduated from universities, but have sort of missed the opportunity to audition for the big professional organizations, Los Angeles Master Chorale, Pacific Chorale, and all this stuff, the big guys. And it just became this niche for about 15 years where we just 15 years. And
what kind of gigs would you get?
Well, most of we would do 4 main concerts a year, and then like we did other things like that first or second year after we formed it. The 007 Quantum of Solace movie had just come out, but the video game was being produced. And I remember one concert I was directing, and there was a string player there that said, "Hey, I'm in the studio orchestra for this, and we need a choir." And so if you play the video game, we are on the track.
Wow.
Yeah.
Never played it, but now I'm going to find it now. That's amazing.
Yeah, and just little things all around LA, like a good chunk of the LA Philharmonic's brass section used to do this Christmas recital in Redondo Beach, and so they needed a choir, and we got signed up for that. Biola at one time was hosting the International Composers Convention, and so there were composers from all over the world gathering at Biola, and I remember the college director calling me up, and she goes, "We've got a bunch of music to premiere. We can't handle all of it. So if you take half, we'll take half, and you guys premiere this, we'll premiere that." So, I think over the course of 15 years, we ended up premiering close to 32 new works, much of which are now part of mainstream choral music. They're being performed all over the world now.
Wow.
Yeah, it opened so many doors for me in so many different ways.
Yeah.
I've stood on stages and stuff, worked with people that I thought I would never be able to stand next to.
That's awesome.
And so, but I kind of do joke around that I said, if I ever had to audition as a singer for my own choir, I probably would not make it. So I'm glad I'm the director because these people are amazing. Yeah.
But then COVID happens.
Yeah.
Which
as you can imagine, for a lot of nonprofit organizations, it was very tough. And so we just couldn't sustain it. Plus, a lot of my folks were moving away for work or had just married, getting, and, children on the way and stuff. And I thought, well, and I know the virtual choir thing happened as soon as COVID hit and everything. And I did not want to learn how to become an audio engineering master.
That's a mixing nightmare right there.
And so it is such a challenge. And I said, no, if I'm going to do choral music, I have to do it authentically. I need everyone in the room, and it's got to be a thing. So I'm just going to wait this out. But yeah, when COVID happened, it was just clear we were not going to be able to sustain the choir. And so I let it fizzle out in peace. But
and that was a little bit of a crossroads for you career wise, right? And so
it was, yeah. Not to boast or anything, but up until COVID, I had never really encountered, closed doors to my career. Just it just seemed like things just progressed and progressed and progressed. And so suddenly when COVID hits, and one morning I wake up to like 20 emails saying this gig is canceled, this is canceled, this is canceled. And it was just heartbreaking. And yeah. And so for someone who's actively doing music 24/7 most of his life to suddenly just dead stop, it was so hard.
Yeah. And then I kind of want to talk about just like the giant step of faith you took to Christ Lutheran Church, because that kind of, I'm not going to say COVID, unfortunately, COVID kind of transitioned to that, but then you kind of found yourself looking for something. And it kind of sounds like mostly all of your career at that point was Southern California. We're not in Southern California.
That's right.
So talk to us real quick, for those of you who don't know, talk to us about just the step of faith of applying for a random Lutheran church and in a place in the middle of nowhere. And
how did we find you?
Well,
which is interesting because all three of us are transplants of basically. So yeah, just
almost everybody at this church now.
Yeah. But yeah, talk about that, just that process of taking that step of faith, trusting God and your faith about applying for a music position at a Lutheran church in Central Valley, California.
Yeah, I think my family is grateful that I found this place too, because they can tell you I was not the easiest person to get along with during COVID, because I was just so depressed. I would snap at people. It's like I was so far away, removed from my art, that I was just so in pain, And so I had Google alerts ready for any job that might match my criteria, what I was looking for. I was praying every day. I was like, God, you just got to, I know. And I admit I was in like a state of, I'm angry, but I'm also sad. I'm like hopeful, and it was just a mix of emotions. But I also, was searching on Indeed and a few other places. And yeah, I think I came across Christ Lutheran through Indeed. Yeah. And at the time I had also applied for a church in Washington near Seattle.
No.
And it was down to me and one other person. And then you guys contacted me. And I think if I recall that first interview, I think we kind of parted our ways and we kind of went, well, I think you guys were looking for someone that was doing all the children's music as well.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was very truthful and said, that's really not my strength. This is what I do. But only because I think children deserve their own director, someone that can really invest in them and really build that up, to which I'm more than supportive of. And so I think closer to Thanksgiving, you guys contacted me back and I came up for an in-person interview. And I just remember driving up here, and I'm sure I've passed through this area before, but
this is almost the definition of the place you drive through to get someplace else.
Yeah.
Well, it was so funny just driving here, and I'm going, I see broken down farm equipment on the side, empty fields.
How many dairies did you pass to get here?
What am I getting into? And then as soon as I hit the 108 and I go, oh, it's a town. Okay, we're good. And it was just great. But yeah, you guys made me feel so welcome that first that job interview and everything. I remember the music portion of the interview where you guys had me play a hymn and everything. And at that time, I'm like, I haven't touched the piano or sung anything in 10 months, but okay, let's do it.
Did we give you a heads up that was going to be part of it?
No, I don't recall.
Oh, wow.
In fact, half the committee didn't know we were going to do that. I'm not going to throw that person underneath the bus, but yeah.
Well, it worked out. And so, I just fell in love with this place. And it's interesting. Like, I've either had really good successes with the music department itself at a church, like the first church, like great music, great staff, and I love that part. But clearly the church was not going to grow.
Yeah.
And it is now closed actually since then. And then the church in Temecula was just church on such a big grand scale that it just never felt
to performance almost.
Right. It just
Yeah.
it yeah. And so I kind of missed that. And then coming here, everything just hit all the boxes. This is why I felt like was just a healthy church across the board. Like clearly they love music. It's a great staff. They match my energy, they match my sarcasm, my humor and stuff like that. It's great. And it's a great community. And so Visalia, and I come from Whittier, and Whittier is a very small town. It just seems big because it's connected to so many other cities around it. But it felt like home in that way. And so it just felt easy to transition here.
Yeah. I think one of the hardest parts of working for a church is, on Sundays, it's literally our job to fill people's cups.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's game day, right? For people who work in the church, and it's our job to fill. And so I guess my question for you, Paul, because I think everybody who works in ministry is different, right? But how does your cup get filled past Sunday mornings? And how do you worship God when your job is to make sure other people are worshiping, lead other people to worship? So has that been a struggle for you ever, that balance of finding time and space, even on Sunday mornings, for your cup to get filled? I'm just kind of curious, because I think everyone who, works in ministry deals with that battle and to some degree. Has that ever been a big battle for you? And how do you now make sure that your cup is getting filled even on Sunday mornings when you have so much on your mind and responsible for?
Yeah. Sunday mornings is interesting because I feel like I'm half my heart is present, because my brain is working overtime to make sure everything's in the right order and things are happening at the time they're supposed to. Right. Because it's more than just music I'm responsible for. It's all of worship, everything that goes on a Sunday service.
Did you know you were signing up for that when you came here?
I had a feeling, just because, the last job was clearly just traditional music director. You're just in charge of that.
Right.
But here I knew worship meant just the larger scale.
Yeah.
So I do make it a habit when I got home on Sundays to watch other pastors I've worked with before. So the cool thing about live streaming is I can listen to a sermon from any pastor that I've had in my past now.
Yeah.
So, which is great. And so the pastor I had in Whittier, him and his wife now are in Austin, Texas, working at First Christian. There's a big cathedral there right near the State House. And he's there. And so every Sunday I will go on and listen to Lane Beamer, who was my pastor in Whittier. And it's great to be able to still listen to him and be ministered to in that particular way. And I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of conversations with God. I'll take time, especially on Sunday when I get home from church, and I'll take time just to be with God. And I think it's very important that people who minister find ways to be ministered to.
Yeah.
And that's something I bring up with the staff quite a bit in some of my devotions, because I just think it's very important.
Yeah.
And if you're not careful of and actively balancing that, I think you can, we cannot fill others' cups when we're completely drained.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. I'm very curious your answer to this question, but how do you balance musical excellence with spiritual purpose? Because obviously you as a musician, you want to, especially if you're leading something, you want the quality to be quality.
Sure.
And no one blames you for that. But also, I think part of music ministry is telling people, like, we're not here for that performance, right? Anyone can sing or anyone can do this. So how do you balance that in the ministry setting? Because obviously in schools, you don't really have that, right? But you do to a degree. But how do you balance the musical excellence, but also, the spiritual purpose of ministry?
Yeah. And I think church music is different than any other form of ensemble or anything like that, because, and I tell all the teams this all the time too, it's like, it's not enough for the music to be good. It has to minister.
Yeah.
And in order for, do that, I go out of my way every week to make sure with recordings, other things like that. And I'll even take the time to make recordings and stuff for Praise Team when I need to and things like that. But I go those extra miles because if I'm not setting people up for success, then we cannot allow room for the Holy Spirit to take flight on Sundays and see what's going to happen. But the only way you allow for the heart and spirit to take over is if you're fully prepared on the music itself. Let's get the academic side of it done so that way we can enter into the faith portion. And we talk a lot about the text. We talk a lot about how it transitions, what the music is doing for the text, and why it's so important what we're singing. You know, and one of the things I love, especially with the choir, is that, you know, we enter a time of prayer every week, sometimes devotions, things like that. So I think it's very, very, very important to do those things. But yeah, I think the best thing to do is to be as prepared on the music as possible. And, you know, there are things, you know, we make mistakes every Sunday because, you know, we're human. And we have a team of wonderful, wonderful volunteers. And are we all professionals? No. But are we all here and we all have a heart for it? Yes. And so sometimes the littlest mistakes are some of the best moments for me, because things that you know, somehow a curveball always happens on Sunday that I'm not ready for. And if you notice me kind of smirking off to the side of my, you know, a little smile off to the side, that's because either something went really right or something went really wrong. And either way, no problem. But no matter what, I know for sure that the Holy Spirit was present in what we do. And that's the number one thing for me, that it ministers to people's hearts. Not only that is a minister to others, but that it's ministry to the people who are singing up there.
Right. So here's a question for both of you. Wanted to hear some hot fire questions, but do you, Paul, do you have a favorite hymn or I don't want to say worship song, but is there a song? Yeah, we'll keep it more in a spiritual, but a church song. But do you have a favorite hymn that is your go-to to fill your cup? I know I do, but do you have one where you listen to and you're immediately like, you know, Holy Spirit activate? Here we go.
When I want more fanfare, when I just want to hear the, you know, just complete glory, I will turn to, it's not a song, it's not a hymn we have in our hymnals here, but To God Be the Glory. And then when I'm just like, you know, sort of at my end and I need some uplifting, I will listen to Thomas Dorsey's Precious Lord, Take My Hand. Those are two that I always always go back to. Yeah.
About you, Josh, do you have a particular song that you kind of not lean on, but you just know you can listen to and it just kind of lifts you up a little bit?
There's not not in air quotes a church song, but there's been, like, the last few years there's been a song that I listen to when I'm feeling alone, or when I'm, you know, feeling down or not really comfortable in my setting, and I'm stalling so I can look up the name of it right now. It's been covered by dozens of people. The rendition I listen to is by Government Mule, and it is almost here. It is nope, that's not it. Talk amongst yourselves.
Well, mine, I have two. I'll tell you mine easily. Mine is How Deep the Father's Love for Us. The line, and I've almost tattooed this on my body, but His dying breath has brought me life.
Yeah.
Like that. Like, come on.
That is a good line.
Oh, gosh. I love that line. So that is one that Rachel knows I want to be played at my funeral. And then In Christ Alone, there's just some lines in that line where in that song, you know, but those are kind of the more traditional. Morning Cry is pretty good.
I remember you saying
the St. Olaf version, shout out to St. Olaf. But that one gets me, but I do love How Deep the Father's Love for Us. I am a Come Thou Fount. I don't know, I know those are not like hymns, but those are kind of the more older songs, especially from our generation.
I think that one's good for deep voices too.
Yeah, but
there's a few songs that I can like sing along to, and I feel more comfortable doing it.
Yeah, appropriate key for singing.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you find it, Josh?
Soul Shine by Government Mule. I mean, it's, like I said, it's been covered by, they did not write it. They covered it. I don't know who originally wrote it, but it's a really good song. I can play for you later if you want. But
yeah. So real quick, Paul, what are some musicians that inspire you today to like kind of help fulfill your calling, or you know, help kind of keep you going? What are not musicians or composers or numbers, fill in the blank with what correct word I should be saying, but what's inspiring you today?
The thing that inspires me today, I'm in a different stage in my career now because, we have this great partnership with COS where
we do. Shout out to COS too.
Absolutely. Yeah. We've got a great relationship with the music department there, in which I offer private conducting lessons for some of the music education majors.
Yep.
You don't get a lot of conducting experience in the undergrad level, and these are things that people did for me back in the day. And so I'm in a place where I can pay that forward. So believe it or not, it's the students that I work with that are inspiring me these days, because it's just great to lift up the next generation of musicians, to know that my art is going to be carried on with these folks beyond me, that they're going to surpass me in every possible way is a blessing. And it's awesome to know that. And so, at 40 years old now, I'm kind of like dead center of my career. I'm in my prime. And so I'm doing music that I never thought I could do. Right now with the community chorus, the chamber choir, the community chorus, I'm preparing Poulenc's Gloria. Here at the church, I'm preparing for a Requiem for Friday. So these big masterworks and stuff I never thought I would do, I'm doing. And it's a whole different path. And so I'm pushing myself to work with composers I have not performed music for. I also get a lot of inspiration from my colleagues, my colleagues here in town. And then next month, I will go to San Jose for the American Choral Directors Conference. And I'll be inspired by my fellow colleagues there to watch what's happening music-wise. I think we have one of the best choral music centers in the country, in the world.
Yeah.
The West Coast is just amazing. And I have so many friends and colleagues up on the West Coast here. It's just amazing. So I really take inspiration from my fellow colleagues. Yeah.
I'm gonna give you permission to plug in. What are you doing on Good Friday? We have a lot of church members who listen to this, and it, by all means, talk to us like we're five, explaining to it. Because I know you've been working. We talked about this the other day at our staff meeting, but just the amount of people who are practicing and committing to this Good Friday thing. And again, Requiem, right?
Yep.
Real quick, plug that real quick. What if they come on Good Friday at 6:00? What are they gonna experience?
Yeah, so Gabriel Fauré wrote this Requiem. He claimed it was not for his parents, but shortly after his parents passed away, he wrote this Requiem. And a Requiem is simply a mass written specifically for those that have died. And it takes the Roman Catholic ordinary mass and it substitutes some texts and stuff for very specific text involving death and life and resurrection. And so last year we did John Rutter's Requiem. Most composers have written something to this effect. And I think if you liked the Rutter presentation last year, I think you will enjoy this one as well, because I think Rutter took a lot of inspiration from Fauré. It sets it up quite the same way, big dramatic chord at the beginning, and then all of a sudden there's this beautiful melody from the tenors that comes out later on. And then when we perform at Good Friday, you'll hear the choir combined with an incredible chamber orchestra, which will be professional orchestra members from Sequoia Symphony here in town. We've got guest musicians coming to help sing in the choir from the community area. And then our soloists are Lauren Ferris, who's a voice teacher at COS, and Justin Witt, who also teaches voice. I sing with them every Tuesday night at community chorus, and they are amazing people. And so you will hear this. The piece that night is about 30 to 40 minutes long, and it is the center of the service. And I think it sets up beautifully for Easter, just knowing that we leave with this text, the last movement called the Pia Jesu, where we are entering heaven, transitioning from death to heaven, and this incredible paradise and peace. And so as the tomb is sealed, Good Friday, we just left with this incredible reverence. And then, of course, Sunday morning, it sets us up beautiful for this triumphant glory and resurrection.
I appreciate you explaining that. I actually understood about 95% of that. So.
That makes sense.
It does. No, and I mean, again, I kind of thought we're doing the same Requiem as last year, but when you explained it that way, I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, although the text will probably be very, it's
right. It's
pretty much the same.
Good Friday.
Yeah. I mean, the text of Requiem is most masses and stuff. Exactly.
Sequel.
So no surprises there, although it is in Latin. we'll have the translations and everything there for you and all
No,
that.
it
good
just
stuff.
means you can say whatever you want, right?
That's
I
right.
know,
That's
yeah.
right.
You could say, yeah.
Of course, we'll have
absolutely.
these wonderful translations, and yet we darken the sanctuary,
I
so you
know.
can't read those translations.
I know.
But yeah. So it's a, I think it's an incredible way just to set the tone.
Yeah.
First for that Easter Sunday.
So I just, maybe Josh can correct me here, but I think Josh found this church through music, or was that Green Acres? It was, how did Nancy find?
Yeah, she got invited here through, I think, some of her fellow teachers at Green Acres Middle School.
Yeah.
I think she got invited that way, or it might have been her principal,
Okay.
Dave Tonini.
Yeah, it
was her first
yeah,
principal,
okay.
and he's a member here.
But I know, like LCA and Nancy.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
stuff like that.
it was the previous musical director, Lim, who immediately like recognized that was something that she wanted to do and plugged her right in.
Yeah.
And started creating relationships, and then I got dragged along about a year and a half later.
Yeah. But I guess my question to both of you, and we'll start with Paul first, is because I'll tell you my answer. I was very, in a good way, surprised and shocked. But Visalia is a huge music community.
Yeah.
Both in choral and musical and stuff like that. Did you know that, Paul, when you grew up, when you kind of moved up here? Were you as shocked as me when I found out there's basically a musical every other weekend in this town? And I say that
17 different groups,
but
doing
you know
it.
what I mean? Like, and that's it. Again, I came across bad, but it's not. Like, truly, there's so much. The liberal arts scene here is really good. Were you surprised by that or shocked by that at all?
Well, after the position was offered to me and I accepted, of course, I was telling some friends and stuff, colleagues and stuff down south, and some of my previous teachers had said, "Oh, you're gonna love Central Valley. It's an incredible music area and everything." And I was like, "Okay." But then I get here and be immersed in it and discover it myself. It's incredible. I met John Sorber through a mutual friend of ours who sang with me in the Delgado Singers back in the day, and he said, "If you're moving to Central California, you got to meet John Sorber."
Yeah.
So like 2 or 3 days after I was here, John and I had coffee, and we've had an incredible friendship ever since in partnership. And but yeah, I don't think the other professionals in town needed to let me enter into the world as quickly as they did, but they just open arms, just let me into this incredible world. Yeah.
Were you shocked by that, Josh? You moved here just like I don't know. Again, I just thought this was just a farming community, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look around.
Culture, yeah.
But
It's when you see this town from afar, you're not thinking fine arts,
right?
But then as I think about it more, as I'm sitting here, I was like, we do find the most things to do inside during the summer.
Yeah,
because it's hot.
Yeah. It's a little warm.
It's a little
yeah. I just remember again just being very in a good way surprised by the amount of fine arts, of musicals and stuff like that here. And I was like, and even from the high school level, Sorber at El Diamante and other high schools too, the marching bands. I mean, I've always just been like, this town, and as a person who loves music, who was involved in band and choir in high school and all that, I was like, yeah, this town's got.
Well, not only is there always something to listen to or see or do, but I think it's widely appreciated.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, because you go other places and there's always something going on,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe it's not well received, or people are just like, oh yeah, those people over there.
Yeah.
But here, I think it's very widely appreciated.
It definitely is.
Yeah, and as a person who has gone to a lot of the variety of theaters and stuff like that, that's a great point. This town does love,
and they show up.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
I mean, that Candy Lane parade, half of it is marching bands and dance. You know what I mean? And gosh, all the dance studios too. That's why Josh has been dragged along. I've now can say I've been involved in 3 ballets. It's just all those fun things. And so, but yeah, thank you so much, Paul, for coming on. Any closing thoughts on kind of what's next in store for you? I know it's Lent, and so you're working hard on that. And as Paul mentioned, he is heavily involved in the Visalia Community Chorus there. I remember one time I was at church and I thought I missed a meeting because the parking lot was just absolutely slammed.
Oh yeah.
My heart just dropped. And then I walk into the church office and I look at the camera and there's like 100, 200 people. I don't know, a lot in the CCC. And I walk in and it's like the Visalia Community Chorus opening meeting.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy cow. Like, what is going on?
Yep, we got it. We had our meet and greet that night, and so yeah, I think the community chorus is about 100 people strong, 100 to 120 depending on the season.
I can concur that.
Yeah, so it's just awesome. So yeah, as you said, just working through Lent, and we just got. I have a lot of projects on the horizon. Like I said, the 4A Requiem for Here for Good Friday, and of course Easter Sunday. The week after that, the Visalia Community Chorus is performing Mozart Vespers, and then I'm also conducting the Pull on Gloria. Then a few weeks after that, we've got clip arts, and we're doing James the Giant Peach
James
Jr.
the Giant Peach.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. So just a lot of projects up in the air right now. Yeah,
I've been asked a few times in the last year or so, is there a musical in the future?
I am wanting to do a musical. I'm hoping to do Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat
nice.
Very soon.
Top 5.
Which I'm hoping will be a church-wide musical, and we get folks involved from the church and everything, and the community as well. But got to do a lot of long-range planning.
Of course, yeah.
I am going to audition for 6 parts of that musical because I love that.
I could see you being Pharaoh.
I love Pharaoh.
I'll open the curtains for you as often as you want.
I play Joseph's Mega Mix in my car all the time, and my kids, like, they put up with it and they listen, and my son Mark can dance to that Pharaoh part. So good. I think too, Paul, I'll say this. If you ever want to do that, I guarantee you're gonna have a village just being like, yes,
yeah,
please.
That's gonna be a big like sign me up type of deal.
Yeah, especially a fun musical like Joseph. So
yeah.
Do you have a favorite musical, Josh?
No. no, I do. I don't know. I've found like when I started working backstage at them, my opinion of them changed a lot.
Yeah.
And so I stopped. I haven't been to them in a while because I can't be an audience member without like looking up at the lighting rigs and looking at the pit and looking for the wheels on the tech props part and everything.
Yeah.
I don't have a very specific favorite. I don't think. What I tend to, when I go to a show like that, I want to leave feeling good.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time going to shows that leave me feeling worse than when I walked in.
Yeah.
And the last couple I've been to kind of did that to me, so it kind of soured.
Dear Evan Hansen's that one. You leave that building, you're like, okay, it's a great musical, but it's not.
The one that comes to mind for me is In the Heights. Like it's an amazing songs, amazing musical. You know, it's Lin-Manuel Miranda, however you feel about him. But there are parts that like, did Abuela really need to die?
Yeah.
Like, did that need to happen? I could have gotten the same thing out of this if she just survived and won the $20,000 lottery.
Yeah,
that's fine. But it is what it is.
How about you, Paul? Real quick, last question. Favorite musical?
Oh, definitely The Producers.
Really?
Mel Brooks. Anything by Mel Brooks.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That is a good one.
I'm gonna cheat. The best one I've ever experienced is Lion King.
Oh yeah,
because of what Josh exactly said. The costumes and the tech part. It's such a like an overwhelming, overstimulating experience.
Oh yeah,
seeing that, like, you're just like, it's insane.
Yeah, I saw that in Vegas. It was incredible.
I was so overwhelmed. Like I cried. I'll be honest. That opening scene, you're just immediately like, this is insane.
Yeah.
But then I'm a huge fan of Rent.
No, what was your first musical experience?
Like in a big theater? I don't know.
Mine was in college. I can tell you mine while you're thinking about it. It was the weirdest show I've ever seen. It was to fulfill my fine art requirement for college. I did behind the scenes in theater, and I was put on the lighting rig.
Oh,
and it's also how I got afraid of heights. So that's a whole other story, whole other podcast there. But we did, the first show we did was Urinetown.
I like Urinetown.
I love Urinetown.
It's such a weird show.
It was a weird show.
It was fun.
Yeah. The first one I was ever involved in was Once Upon a Mattress.
Yep.
I was the prince.
I did that in high school.
Yeah. How about you? What was your first musical experience?
I'm trying to think. It was I don't think it's a very popular show, but I think we did Yearbook my first year of high school.
I don't know if I've ever even heard that one.
It's literally about being in high school and getting yearbooks and all that stuff. So it wasn't that difficult.
Inspiration for High School Musical. This is just
It might have been.
three guys talking musicals here.
But
folks.
yeah, I know, right? But speaking of musicals and choir, when in doubt, when our show choir needed to just pull something out of its pocket, we had a Joseph medley.
I thought you were going to say Seasons of Love.
No, we had a Joseph medley in our back pocket.
Nice.
So whenever we just had extra time or whatever, we had a medley of Joseph and Music Man.
Nice.
So I know those numbers to like we sang that way too much. So way too much. But well, thank you everybody so much for tuning in today. We hope this conversation gave you something new to think about, whether it was an idea, a story, or just a fresh perspective on everyday life. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss future episodes, and share this podcast with friends or family who might enjoy it too. We love hearing from our listeners, so connect with us online and let us know what topics you'd like for us to explore in the future. Until next time, keep asking questions, stay curious, and enjoy the little moments that make life meaningful. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you later here on the Grace Period Podcast.
Amen.